Hello, Cheshire Cat here, and today I'm reviewing the LEGO Minifigures the Disney Series, and this release is May 1st, and this has 18 characters, which I'm going to be taking a look at each one individually, and each pack retails for $4. Now let's take a look at those minifigures. So the first minifigure is Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, animated Disney movie. This is the first time we're ever getting him in LEGO form, and I think this is just the best interpretation in this whole series. He looks spot on, he looks perfect, there's nothing wrong with him. And the only thing that I would say is sort of wrong with him, but it's not for accuracy, is that I wish he had an accessory because there's so many things they could have used as an accessory that would have made sense and referenced the movie. But other than that, this is just a perfectly done minifigure. Next up is the little green alien from Toy Story, or the Pizza Planet alien. And this one is kind of an odd choice since we did get him in LEGO form before, albeit pretty different, and you won't notice it as different besides the little boots right there, which are actually some really cool printed parts on these short legs. But if you look super closely, the eyes on the new minifigure is lowered a little bit from the old version. The belt is a different color as the top of the torso is, and it just looks better, I think, in my opinion. So I do like how they had very little minor variations, but it still just kind of makes me question why they included him when we already got him before and he's not like a majorly popular character. Here's Buzz Lightyear from the Toy Story franchise, which is my favorite film. The first one is my favorite film of all time. And I think he looks really good in this version. It's a different take because the last time we got him in LEGO, he had a molded head. So you can see this uses just a regular minifigure head, but there are a lot of variations. For example, his arms on this new one have printing, and that's really good because we have his really kind of recognizable and iconic laser printing. Also, the side of his legs has printing now, and there's some great boot type printing that's accurate to the movies. And underneath, you can see that this new one doesn't have the Star Command logo like the old one had, and he is made out of the same four top pieces, including the helmet bubble, the actual armor piece right here, and the two wings. And here's how the new body from this minifigure looks with the old one's head. Of course, this head doesn't come in the minifigure series, and I think it looks really good, and I'll keep it this way because I just prefer the old molded head better. Here is Aladdin. I think he looks incredible. He has a nice flesh tone to him, which isn't common on so many licensed minifigures. And he has his hair hat combo with the fez hat at the top. And that just kind of sticks on right there. No alternate face printing, but some back printing on his torso and side printing on his legs. His accessory is this little lamp, which is the same accessory that Genie has in the same series. Speaking of Genie, here he is from the same Aladdin 90s film, of course portrayed by the late and great Robin Williams. He has some great printing on his Genie bottom, which is an old piece, but it's recolored with that little red line, which actually is on the side of the piece as well, which is some really good printing. Also, he has some side arm printing, and his hair hat combo, or not really hair, is a new mold. You can see it's kind of this attachment that just attaches from the top, and there's even a little molded earring, which is pretty cool because it's not molded on the other side, so it's really accurate. And then there's this attachment, which just kind of attaches through that hole in the top, and it looks like that has some painted on black onto this kind of pearl gold base. And as it was with Aladdin, his accessory is this little lamp, which you could take him off and put him on a 1x1 stud. And I also just love that arm printing on the bracelet. I'm sorry, that just keeps standing out and looks great. Here is Maleficent, and she has these nice aqua hands and this nice aqua face printing, and she looks awesome. I mean, this is just a great interpretation of one of the most popular Disney villains. Her cape is actually this bottom part, and then there's a separate cape for this top part around the back of her head. There's no back printing on her torso, unfortunately, but there is this really nice new rubber helmet crown mold, which is so cool, and it captures that distinct look she has, and there's no back facial printing, so that just kind of slips on. I wish it was a hard plastic, but I understand why it wouldn't be since there are these sharp edges on the end. Also, her staff is a pretty simple build, but looks really cool and looks like the one she has in the film. So here is Alice from the original Alice in Wonderland animated movie, and she has that new skirt mold that's actually used once again in this series with Minnie Mouse. That just attaches through the waist, and it's actually a really cool molding that's a hard plastic, and it has some nice printing with the part of her dress. Her legs also have some nice shoe printing, which carries onto the side of the legs. And her dress print is actually really cool. It has a really kind of homely look to it, and it actually carries onto the back. There's also dual molded arms with the sleeves right there. And she has a totally new hair mold as well. And the hair mold's kind of like a hard plastic, but it's pretty smooth on the back. And there's the little bow molded on with some black coloring on there. That is actually pretty tight on there, unlike Ariel's hair, which we'll get to later. And her face is very innocent and adorable, and she has the accessory of the Drink Me bottle from the movie and the Eat Me little cookie thingy, but it doesn't say Eat Me on there, unfortunately. Here's a Cheshire Cat from the Alice in Wonderland animated film, and he is very impressive. One of the most impressive of this whole series, even though he's not one of the most recognizable Disney characters. He just has coloring all around him. They capture his stripes all the way down to his arms, even his dual molded short legs. They use some dual molded of that dark kind of pink color that is consistent with the colors on his torso. And then his head mold is actually a totally new mold altogether. It's a tight plastic, which I was actually expecting it to be rubber. And you can see it has that cartoony look on him and even has some printing on his ears. Other than that, he uses a tail mold from Rocket Raccoon, and that has some nice printing on it or coloring on it as well. Here is Daisy Duck from the classic Disney animated cartoons and shorts for Donald Duck. She is Donald Duck's girl. And you can see she has this kind of really cool looking torso. I'm going to use that for like a nurse or something. And she just looks like Daisy Duck. I think it's kind of spot on. They even got her little slippers on her feet, which are printed, and dual molded legs for her duck feet and her duck fur up there. There's even a new molding, which is this little tail right here, which isn't exclusive to her. It also comes on Donald Duck, but looks really cool and attaches right at the waist right there. And she has this new molding, not only for her head, but it's the same molding that Donald uses, and then there's this little bow molding right there, which just kind of sticks at the top as a peg. So that looks really cool, and there's just so much detail on that head mold. It's just a really incredible looking minifigure. So here is Donald Duck, who looks incredible as well. Very similar to Daisy Duck, same dual molded legs, just no printing, same tail, same head mold, just different printing. And you can see how this hat mold, which is exclusive to this minifigure alone, attaches through the top with this little peg right here, and it just goes on, slips on right like that. So that looks really cool. He even has some nice printing on his torso, and he has some nice printing on the side of his arms. So here is Minnie Mouse. She has the same head mold as Mickey Mouse, and she has that same kind of peg system where there's a hole on the top, and then you use this peg accessory to put it on just like that, and that's actually the same molding for her bow that Daisy has. And she has the same molding that Alice has for her dress, and she has some nice printing on her legs, which is a little bit of like a skirt, and they're dual molded, and she even has little slipper printings, which is really adorable. She also has dual molded arms, which is a nice touch as well. Here is Mickey Mouse, and he just looks incredible. Very accurate representation of one of the most iconic pop culture figures like ever. And he has a little peg on the top because he uses the same mold as Minnie Mouse, but it's not really anything you could see from most angles. Very cool head mold and everything. Hard plastic and dual molded legs right there, which even has his little boots, and they have his little suspenders, I guess, or his pants, which looks great. Here is Mr. Incredible, and it kind of is a little bit odd because he doesn't have the right proportions. You know, he's a much bulkier guy, and having him as this flat Lego minifigure, it looks a little bit odd, but it's okay. I'm getting used to it. He has this nice 2x2 printed tile, which says "Doing Our Part," and it's kind of like a superhero advertisement. And he has some nice tights with some boots dual molded on, which look very good, as well as these dual molded arms, which kind of illustrate some gloves, and a totally new hair mold altogether, which looks awesome. It's kind of like a toupee, very usable outside of this scenario. Here is Syndrome, the main villain of The Incredibles, and he has the Omnidroid's plans as an accessory, and his face just looks pretty darn weird. But other than that, if you could get past that, he's an incredible looking minifigure. His printing on his torso carries all the way down to his tights. He has some great kind of like shoe printing or something, and there's even some little detailing all the way down to the corners, which is so cool. And he has dual molded boots, which you can see right there, and his gloves have printing as well, which look incredible. It's just so cool. It's such a cool looking minifigure. And then his hairpiece is a totally new mold as well, albeit less usable than say Mr. Incredibles, but still very cool. Here is Peter Pan, and he looks freaking fantastic. He has printing and detailing all around him that just makes him look so accurate. Printing on the side of his arms, printing on the back of his torso, printing on the side of his dual molded legs. Oh, his arms are dual molded as well. His hat is a new dual molded molding right there. You can see the top of the hat is green, the bottom is peach, and they colored over for his hair and for this kind of side feather, and that's just usable for, I guess, Link from The Legend of Zelda. And then he has a chipper little new face print, which captures his look in the movie just perfectly. And then he has 2 accessories, which are just these 2 golden daggers. Then there's Captain Hook, who has printing all over him, just like Peter Pan. Again, very detailed, printing on the side of his arms, printing on the back of his torso, printing on the side of his legs for his boots. Then he has this new hair hat combo, which has some coloring for his hair, and then has a feather on top and his big wide hat. Very usable for pirate fans as well. You can see he has his mustache and everything like that, and a rapier as an accessory. So here is Ursula from The Little Mermaid, and she has so much dimensions to her. She has a thick, you can see she has a belly, some breasts, and that's all part of this new molding for her octopus legs or leg piece, and you can see how that attaches. There's holes and everything on there, but it still looks really good. And her torso actually has some printing on there that you can't even see. It just kind of goes underneath. She has her little necklace as well, and her face, you can see that she has a little bit of chub to her like she does in the movie. And then she has some printing on the side of her hair, which I don't really like. It's kind of the silver printing, and she has a trident as an accessory. So here is Ariel, and we have actually gotten her in Lego form before, but as a mini doll. And I could say this version is so much better. Her hair is so much better than the mini doll version. It's this hard plastic, and the only bad thing about it is that it's loose, but then again, the mini doll version is also very loose. You can see her torso has some printing front and back, and she has 2 accessories which aren't so interesting. There's just this little clam and a gem, but she does have some coloring on the back of her fin right here, which you can see there's some printing right there, as well as printing that carries on to the back of it as well, which is just really detailed. Here is the packaging for the series. It has this dark blue color that was found on the LEGO movie series, and the little fold-out fits 3 rows of 8, and it shows kind of how to build them on the back, just like this. So overall, I think this series is, well, magical. These are characters that aren't just animated characters or aren't just movie characters. No, majority of these are icons in popular culture. And it's so cool to get those icons into LEGO form. Many of them haven't been in LEGO form before. Sure, there's a few like Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and Buzz and the Alien who have been in LEGO form before. But it's never been in this cheap, easily accessible way. Each pack's $4, and I think they really put just top-notch effort into making these look like the characters, but also giving it a LEGO flair. It's a collaboration between Disney and LEGO, and that's what it looks like. Some of these are so accurate and such great in their representation, like Peter Pan and Aladdin, Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck. Even some have grown on me, like the Genie and Captain Hook, which I think look fantastic in this LEGO minifigure form. So I think that's all awesome, and then these are great for LEGO fans who just want to get some pieces, because there's some awesome pieces in here, including a new kind of awesome crown right here, some awesome new hair pieces, which are so good for customization, and great dual molded legs here and there. It's just a masterful series, and I can't recommend it anymore. I mean, it's just, if you love animation, if you love Disney, if you love LEGO, you're going to get this. But if you're just the slightest bit into LEGO, it's going to be hard not to pick up one of these $4 packets. And I think it's a great value and just a great series overall. So I would rate this set an A+. I just think it's great for the $4. I like how they chose 18 characters. Sure, some are better than others in terms of why they chose them. Like, I don't know why they chose Cheshire Cat or even the Little Green Man again. But still, I love this series, and I think it's just a great thing for people of all ages, all generations, all backgrounds. So that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me which one's your favorite, because I don't even know which one's my favorite. I love like half of these. And I will see you guys later.